In this session, we're going to talk about the TraqDash PC simulator. This works just like your real TraqDash, so it's a great way to learn how to use the system. On the home page, you're going to see the TraqMate logo, and on every page on the TraqDash, you will also see an info button up here on the upper left. The info button allows you to gain some information about what is actually on the screen, what everything means, as well as on the home page actually what firmware the system is running. Go ahead and click OK, and we'll go into System Setup. System Setup allows you to adjust the display brightness as well as the LED brightness, and you can adjust the units to US metric and adjust the time. So if you're in a particular part of the country, it's important to adjust this to accommodate that. That way making and finding your files later is much easier. Startup allows you to have the system auto turn on as well as auto start in a particular menu. So if you want it basically to go right to the racing gauges, you can do that. Storage allows you to erase and format your card as well as personalize the system. That way if the TraqDash gets lost or misplaced, when it's turned on, that information will be right in here, or it will be displayed right when you turn on the system. That way someone will know that they have the wrong dash. You can also adjust the predictive lap timer. Say if you're running a longer track, you might want to adjust it to be a higher time, or a shorter track or one that you're very familiar with, you would adjust it to a lower time to be more reflective of the speeds that you're going. Go ahead and back out of here, and we're going to go into race setup. This is essentially where a lot of the work will get done. You can enter in driver information here as far as names, things like that, delete drivers, add new drivers. You can also do the same with vehicles. And it's important to note that vehicle settings is in this location. Vehicle settings allows you to really tweak on whatever car may be in the system or new car that you're adding in. So you can go into TAC, for instance, and actually adjust all the RPMs, when you want the warning, the engine cylinders. If you actually click on this here, you can go in and adjust the RPM there as well. And max RPM is the highest RPM shown on the RPM band, as opposed to red line, which you might have set a little lower on down. Go ahead and back out of here. Aero and grip, that's essentially the drag coefficient that the car produces, as well as gear ratio. You can go in here and actually enter in the tire size of the vehicle, or tire circumference if you don't know the exact size. And you can also put in the diff ratio. In this case it's a spec Miata, so it's running a 430 ratio. You can also enter in the transmission ratios. Back out of here. Enter in the vehicle weight down here at the bottom, or select the camera. Back out of here. Inputs. So if you have any inputs such as AEM air fuel ratio, map sensor, temperature, you can click to enable those. And once you do so, we have a few defaults already in here, but if you need to edit anything, you can go to edit scale, change the voltage range, and you can also go in and edit the alarm. So if you have a particular sensor or a particular warning you want to see, like air fuel ratio is out of range or oil pressure is too low, you can go ahead and set that here and set when you want it to come on and off. So that keeps you from destroying anything, as well as gives you some live feedback in terms of what your car is actually doing. You can also rename the inputs down here. Same thing goes for digital. Essentially, if you had a brake switch or some kind of warning light you wanted to have come on. Go ahead and back out of this menu, and this will take you back to the race setup homepage. Here you can look at the track. So when you have GPS in your car, you can actually sort by distance, and you'll see that at the top within 100 miles. And you can actually input new tracks if there's a track that isn't in the system currently, or you need to adjust a track that is in the system. You can also go into settings here Settings allows you to adjust the track type. So if you're doing a rally, for instance, a new track that isn't in the system, you can go in here and say it's a autocross or rally, which means it has a separate start and finish. You can also enter in a particular start and finish, or reset one that you've set in the past or one that isn't correct. You can also adjust your lap hold time. So basically this holds the lap time after you cross the start finish line. So say if there's a lot of turns in that particular track right after the start finish line, you might want to set that hold time to a little bit longer. That way you can look at the lap time when it's safe to do so, rather than right after. You can also set the predictive lap timer in here and reset it. That way you don't have you're not battling against a lap time that you may never be able to achieve. If, say, you had a pro drive your car, or you're driving the car faster and you want someone else to drive the car, you don't want them to have to race against that high or low lap time. You want them to have their own. So that's how you adjust that there. Go ahead and back out of here. And we also have the lap and qualify mode here, which is basically you can turn on qualifying mode. It compares against the current session lap time only, or against the best lap ever recorded in the system. Go ahead and back out to the main menu. Essentially when you want to go racing, well, you just click Go Racing. You can choose lap race, autocross, rally, drag, and drive. One unique feature on the system is the drive. You can actually click on this little button down here on the right and turn it on and off record. So if, say, you wanted to go for a drive and you didn't really want to record any data, but you just wanted some gauges up, you could do that and disable that right here. Let's go ahead and go into lap race. We don't have a camera on this setup, so we'll run without. And you'll have your screen here. So you got your big tack. This is the power band in green, warning in yellow, and red as red line here. You'll see the lap number, current lap time, as well as the predictive lap timer down here at the bottom. And you also have speed on the upper left. Now your Vmin and Vmax essentially is your minimum speed through a turn or the maximum speed. So at the end of the straight you might have a Vmax of, in this case, 165, or a Vmin of 23, for instance. You can click at the top or the bottom of this screen to cycle through the various screens. If you just want a simple lap timer, say if you don't have a tack hooked up, you can have that. Or if you want to look at a G meter or an analog tack, for instance, all those options are available. Let's go ahead and back out of this. And after you've done your session, you want to come back and you actually want to go to Race Review. Now, Race Review is a great place to look at all your laps. So down at the bottom here, you'll see on this particular session, the best lap time was a 2 minute and 32 second. It's in race mode here. You can delete, or you can see details about this particular session. Let's go ahead and select this session here. You can see the best lap is a 1:22.5. And if we click on details, we'll go in here. We can see that it's highlighted on the left in green as well as on the right. And if you click on this blue timing button, you can basically cycle through all the different things in terms of the duration of the file, the top speed, in this case 143 miles an hour, any inputs they may have had, as well as any other things that may be listed in this file. Go ahead and back out of here and go back to the home page. Let's go into Go Racing and go to drag mode. And click on drag. We'll just say auto create new track, and here you can actually specify what gauge you want to be seeing as you're doing the run, as well as the distance that the run is going to be. You just touch the stage once you're ready, and when you're ready to launch the car, you launch it and it will begin your run. And once you're done with the distance, it will give you a time and you will be able to go into race review and actually look at that time and compare it against any other runs that you've done at that particular track. And that's essentially it for the TraqDash PC simulator. Everything that you've seen translates directly to your TraqDash, and we hope that you've enjoyed this session.